Hello, good morning, good evening, whenever you are watching this video. With love, Megan is back, season 2. And the first episode starts with like a little island and the water going over it and the rental house. And then when the scene pops, we see Daniel again. Daniel is there. So Daniel is a makeup artist and they are talking about a chef, like a chef and a baker coming over. So they're talking about like it's a double date and stuff like that. Like, like little jokes. And then they're getting ready to start making a dessert. So Megan and Daniel, I'm sorry, gonna start making a caramelized apple tart. And so they're making the apple glazed tart and she's like, "Oh, do you want to chop up some onions?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I will do it better this time than last time because I just need a bigger knife with my big hands." Oh my gosh. These jokes, I swear. And then she starts telling him about the people that is coming over. Chef David Chang, I guess he's like this famous chef. And then this other lady, I forgot her name. She has this uh, restaurant called Milk. And David was so excited. You guys should have saw the look on his face. His face just lit up. I was like, "Oh my God, she's coming." Ah, he must really like her cakes. And he was like, "She's 2 blocks from my house on the west side." I was like, "Wow, she's pretty close. I should go check her out." Christina. Christina is her name. That's her name, Christina. So now they got done with their chit chatting and now they are cooking the apple tart. And they put butter, olive oil, and then they put the onions in the frying pan, and then she put thyme with it as well. She mixed some type of brown stuff in it to make it look all brown. She stirred it up, and then now they're putting it in a mixed bowl. And then she put an egg, and Danielle is spreading the egg on the pastry, and then they put the the tart, the fried onions and stuff on top of it. So I guess she was trying to do the blossom that the lady from the last season was teaching her how to do. So she did 2 blossoms and 4 flats. Oh my God, it does. These little tarts, they do look good though. I ain't gonna lie, they look delicious. So while they're waiting 25 minutes, Daniel brings out his makeup bag and is putting powder on Megan's face. And then Megan turns around and does it to him. And again, I like the when the fourth wall is broken. I think that's excellent. So right after they get done doing their makeup, David and Christina arrive on the set. Okay. And they're hugging each other, doing their little greetings. So they start talking about how David and Christina met. And they're talking about Virginia, and David was like, "Oh, I live in Virginia too." And then they started making a heart, whatever. So I guess that's what all three of them have in common. They lived in Northern Virginia, and then they're going on about how they met. So Megan is going on about how she met Daniel in 2009 because she was looking for a makeup artist. I'm surprised she didn't talk about Suits because Suits is all she talked about last season. Oh, thank God. So Megan shows them about what you call it, a little chicken that I guess is on her farm or whatever. And she shows us like the little bitty egg. And so they all crack open the egg or whatever. And then David is like, "You guys want to know a trick? You know how you get it crispy on the outside? You know, the sunny side up eggs or whatever?" And he goes, "Do you guys like it, the yolk a little runny?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do." And he was like, "Okay, hand me a plate." And so Megan hands David a plate and he puts it on top of the skillet and then he turns the fire off. And oh my gosh, because they got a steam and it they look immaculate. So Christine asked what activities are they gonna do for the day, and Megan was like, "We're gonna be in our comfort zone and we're gonna be out our comfort zone." And then she was like, "We're gonna do some flower arrangements," and I'm like, "Megan, again? It, with the flowers? This whole episode gonna be about the flowers again? Like, girl." So they're asking about are Christine and David are competing against each other. And Megan and David, they're not really, competitive or whatever. And then Megan has them like these green boxes. And she's like, "Well, you don't have to compete for these." And so she made David, Daniel, and Christine scarves because she was like, "Oh, Christine, I like your love of scarves. So I had to make you one." So the she shifts to her real home and she's doing water marbling because she wants to make Christina a hair gift and the two men, Daniel and David, a pocket scarf or something. Child, I don't know. So now she goes and dabbles the pen into the blue ink and puts it in some type of water. So for Christine, she put like a pink and yellow little paint in the water because she wants to create the California sunset for her. So she's making like little swashes in the water to create like a pattern. So the scene shifts back to the rented kitchen, and David is like, "Oh my God, thank you." And Christine was like, "I gotta wear this in the kitchen. It's so beautiful and everything." People love the gift that Megan gave them. So they all go in the backyard, and Megan got all these flowers lined up, and she was like, "Pick a vessel and see what speaks to you." So they all grab a vessel that they like, and then as soon as Megan pours the water into Christine's uh, vessel, it leaks. So she has to get a new one. And then when Megan pours water into hers, her vase leaks as well. So there's a lot of broken vases there. So Megan had to get another one. So they get done doing their floral arrangements and they're complimenting each other And David asks Daniel, what does yours mean? And Daniel's like, it's called small and mighty. And I agree with Daniel on that because his little bouquet, his floral arrangement was beautiful. Like it's small but bold and it makes like a little statement. And I think Daniel won out of everybody, because a lot of people, including Meghan, was doing too much with their floral arrangements. They were making it all big and long and tall, and Daniel's is just perfect. So the scene shifts back into the kitchen, the main kitchen, where they are now saying we're going to be making graham. No, not graham. They're going to make graham crackers from scratch, but they're going to be making s'mores from scratch. This is very interesting. So they make two different batches and they put in the butter and the flour and everything. So Christine throws the bowl where Daniel and David is, and Daniel looks very excited to stir up the batch. And David just looks like, you got it, buddy. You got it. The look on David's face says it all, man. So now they're talking about peanut butter because Daniel loves peanut butter. So Christine was like, when me and my family make s'mores, we don't use chocolate. We use a Reese's peanut butter cup. And David's like, oh my God, we need to do that right now. Yeah, they're talking about lavender honey graham cracker. Yo, that sounds so nasty. They said that was going to come in the future. Ugh. So Megan pulls out her chocolate that she made, and again with the eatable flowers. She put eatable flowers in the white chocolate. Yeah, Megan and her damn flowers. And then she made chocolate with like coconut, almonds, and all the good stuff. And no flowers. So they take the graham cracker mixture and they take the paper and they're squishing the graham cracker down. And then they gotta make it into like little squares. And then so Megan's cutting it. You know Megan, she a pro. So she's cutting the squares and David's like, Megan's doing it. That girl's good. And then they just start making jokes. So now that they put the graham crackers in the oven for about 20 minutes on 350, they're making the marshmallows. So they put like, what she say, like white gelatin, cold water, sugar, some high fructose corn syrup, and some regular water and something else. And then they're about to stir it up. So they're gonna make turmeric, vanilla, marshmallow, and then they're gonna make one of David's favorite flavors. Child, I don't know that long ass long ass name, child. So they put something on the stove, and then Christine asked David, like, "Oh, have you ever fried butter or make butter or something?" Daniel was like to David, "Oh, can I watch you do it?" With a big old surprise, a big old smile on his face. And then it was like, I thought today was getting out of our comfort zone. And Daniel was like, oh, no, 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 I don't want to do that. So he put like a big pot of butter on the stove. So she pours out some of the marshmallow mix into a little pan, and she says, "Okay, Megan, do your thing. Put your little swirl on it." And she goes, "Oh my God, Christine, I'm just so glad you trust me." And then Daniel was like, to David, "Do you trust me?" And David was like, "I trust you." And then they were like, "Oh my God, you guys." Well, Megan was like, "Oh my God, you guys, so competitive. Like, we're eating the same s'mores." I thought that was quite cute too. So now they have to let the marshmallow sit in the pan. And then Megan was like, "David, we're going to the garden." And David was like, "Off to the garden." So the scene shifts to Megan and David in the garden picking out basil, thyme, thyme, and sweet little peas, I think he said. And now that they got all what they need here and there, they're going back into the kitchen. So once David takes out all the food from the garden, steak and all that out of the refrigerator, which is nothing really in that refrigerator except what looks like flowers. David starts taking charge. He was like, "Garlic, this, that, somebody peeled the sweet mints or whatever called." And then he was like, "Get the apples." And then somebody was like, "What do you want us to do with the apples?" And then he was like, "Puree it with the garlic." I was like, "Huh?" Whatever. People puree weird stuff together all the time. So the garlic, apple, and the apple juice that he mixed together, he said that it was part of his mom's recipe, and that type of sauce goes on steak. Hmm, very interesting. I think he's Japanese. So David is just running the kitchen. He's like, this, that. And we gotta make it like this, you gotta make it like that. And then he put like the sauce he made from the garlic and the apples, he put the steak in there, to I guess to marinate the steak or whatever. And then Megan was like, "Ooh, this is not how I like it. I'm more clean as you go." But I understand we're, you know, doing this out of our comfort zone. So David is really focused. So he takes a little olive oil and puts it on the cutting board, and then takes some like a like a small piece of dough, and then he rubs his hands in olive oil, and then he starts doing the flatbread. And oh my God, that dough looks hella drenched, and it looks like that bread is gonna taste oily. That's how it looks. And then David's looking like, "Oh my God, David, I want to do that." So David was like, "Who wants to start on it?" And Daniel was like, "Me, I'll start on that." I was like, "Okay, David. I mean, okay, Daniel." So Daniel's doing his flatbread, right? And again, it looks so oily. Oh my God, it looks so oily. And he was like, he was doing it, but it wasn't like how it turned out like David's. And he was like, "Yo, my bread is busted. Like, it's not shaping right." And Christine was like, "Oh, it's okay. The thinner it is, the better it is." So now David and Daniel go outside and make this big steak. And oh my God, you guys, the steak looks so delicious. So the scene shifts back into the kitchen, and they're just eating and talking about how good it is. And then Megan was like, "Oh, what about them s'mores?" And then people are just quiet, like, "Bitch, we're eating." So now the scene shifts from day to night, and they're all in the backyard And they're roasting marshmallows and talking and eating their peanut butter graham crackers. And David seems to leave his marshmallow on the fire for too long, and it literally starts to melt and fall off. And so Christine was like, a messy s'more is the only way to s'more. I thought that was pretty good. That's a pretty good slogan. And then they start getting all like sentimental about finding each other and glad that, they came together and became friends. And it went off with them laughing.